right, folks, I got a bunch of news to go over here for Nintendo Switch 2 and a bunch of games. And really, one of the big things we want to highlight in today's video is the HDR problem with Switch 2. Look, someone who actually knows what the hell they're talking about has finally explained what to do and how to fix HDR settings, especially on your TV, because that seems to be where people are having a ton of issues with HDR. But again, we have a bunch of game news in here as well. And before I dive in, I want to remind you that, hey, we are giving away 5 copies of Donkey Kong Bonanza. So, yeah, if you want to enter, all you got to do is go down to the link in the pinned comment or the description. And let's not waste any more of your time, and let's dive right in with an update on the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. That's right. This comes from the official Prince of Persia account on X, and it says, yup, we're still deep in the game, exploring, building, and ensuring the sands move with purpose. This game is being crafted by a team that truly cares, and they're pouring their hearts and a lot of coffee into every step. Thank you for sticking by us. And they post this, presumably a screenshot from the game. Could be a piece of art. I don't know. But that's just nice to know it's still going along. Obviously, when they initially revealed this project many years ago, it didn't look the greatest, but it's still one of those things where they decided they need to reboot it and redo things, and we'll see if we can end up living up to the hype and expectations of the original game. That I played the original all the way back on GameCube, so I'm really excited, and yeah, it's probably coming to Switch 2. Technically not announced for Switch 2 yet, but I presume that's going to happen. Ubisoft needs to make money. They're going to put it everywhere. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone's having a great time with Switch 2, unfortunately. While developers seem to be excited and bringing games over, some fans have been having issues with transferring their save data. In particular, one Pokemon fan is very upset, but it's a confusing situation because they kind of deleted their post, but I can't figure out why. We're going to go to IGN, who has an article on this. It says, distraught Pokemon fan lost 1,000 plus hours and 20 years of progress during Switch 2 system transfer, proving a need for Pokemon Home to save beloved creatures. So, Nintendo Switch 2 owners who say they've lost Pokemon save files are strongly recommending other fans make use of the franchise's Pokemon Home storage app before booting up their new console and initiating a system transfer. One report on Reddit details a fan's experience transferring their original Switch's data to their new Switch 2, only to find out their Pokemon Scarlet save file had been lost in the process. Other fans responding to the post have reported similar issues, and IGN staff member has had the same experience happen to them. That Reddit post, the user that Otaku26, claims their save file had more than 1,000 hours of gameplay and over 2 decades of beloved Pokemon brought over from generations of previous Pokemon titles, stretching back to Pokemon Leaf Green and Pokemon Diamond on the Nintendo DS and Game Boy Advance. For Pokemon fans, this is why their save files are so precious, as some players bring over creatures they had already been playing with in multiple previous games, some released years ago. At the same time, Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch are some of just a handful of titles not compatible with the console's inbuilt cloud save function available if you subscribe to NSO. Indeed, Switch games Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Sword and Shield, plus Scarlet and Violet are all unsupported. Of course, the Pokemon franchise does have its own cloud save offering, the Pokemon Home app, which comes with its own subscription plan that kicks in if you want to store more than 30 creatures, and it's this app that fans are now recommending to anyone wanting to continue their Pokemon save files on Switch 2, just to make sure that their virtual creatures survive the move to Nintendo's new console. I just got a Switch 2, I did the startup, the initial data transfer with no issues, my Scarlet save file is gone, it loads straight into the language selection and create character screens, no data on my OLED, just all gone. There was no error in the data transfer at all. They continued, it went fine. All my other Pokemon data is still there, but not Scarlet. I had Mons from my original GBA up to the current on there, literally 20 years worth of data. There's nothing I can do. I don't even know if I want to play anymore. Some fans commiserated with the player and said they experienced similar issues. This exact same thing happened to me when I was transferring from my original Switch to OLED. Tears were shed. The same thing happened to me, but literally all my save data isn't there anymore, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Kart 8, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and so on. I literally have to play everything from the start, which a bunch of those games actually have cloud saves. So if you're using the cloud save feature, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that, but I understand if you are not using it. Many fans said the situation, however rare, meant that backing up beloved creatures on Pokemon Home was a necessity. I'm afraid of this happening to me. Everything I have is going to home. This does go to show, like, the issue with games when they don't support that cloud save feature is just, it's really unfortunate because here's the thing. This whole story, look, I'm not doubting that this is happening to people. There's so many reports of it that clearly this is very, very much an issue with Pokemon in particular with its save data. But like the post is deleted, as I said, and I went through all this stuff and went through the user's post. I'm not really sure why they deleted the post. What I can say is there were suggested possible fixes in here if you're experiencing this problem. Some people said, hey, if you call Nintendo support, sometimes they can actually recover the data. I'm not really sure how they do that. Maybe the data is actually on your system. It's just not being read by the game. That could be a possibility. Maybe it got stuck somewhere in the transfer process. Maybe it's still on the original OLED, but obviously it thinks it transferred it. I don't really know, but some people have said they have had this issue. They've called customer support and they were able to recover the data. So maybe that's what happened and he's able to recover his data. So he deleted the post because it was deleted by the user who made it. Again, I don't know. This hasn't happened to me. My Scarlet save is on my Switch 2, so I didn't have this issue, but it's kind of unfortunate. I would have rather that person didn't have the issue than me. If I have to restart my Scarlet, it's okay. I never even beat the game anyways, and I didn't import Pokemon. So if my file would have went away, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But for someone to put that much time in, and obviously all those years, I can understand the frustration. This goes to show that obviously the system transfer must have some sort of issue with some of this data. And on top of that, it's time for the Pokemon Company to allow these games to support cloud saves. Figure out a way. I know they're worried about duplications and they're worried about cheating. Like the crap's happening anyways. So just let people, like legit consumers, not lose their stuff. That's just my take on this. Now, setting that aside, we do have some good news about games coming to Switch 2 because one of the best RPG series, in my opinion, that even exists at this moment is coming to Switch 2. So Trails Beyond the Horizon slips to early 2026, but it's also coming to Switch 2. Unfortunately, it's a game key card. At some point, we're going to stop talking about that because it's becoming more and more common for it to be one. Anyways, it says the next entry in the Trails series, The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond Horizon, has been pushed back from its fall 2025 release to January 2026, NIS America has confirmed. Boo! However, there's a silver lining. It's also getting a Switch 2 version, which was not originally announced. The catch is the Switch 2 version is a game key card. I know, we don't like it. Confirmed for a Western release back in March of 2025, Trails Beyond the Horizon is the 13th entry in a long-running series that started all the way back with Trails of the Sky in 2004, which coincidentally is getting a remake in September, published by Gung Ho. NIS America also revealed its store-exclusive limited edition for the game. It'll be $99 on Nintendo Switch and $109.99 on Switch 2. Not sure why they're charging more for the Switch 2 version. It's a game key card, but you know. That's what they're doing. The game keycard part is disappointing, but we're looking forward to seeing how the game looks and runs on the newer console at the very least. It doesn't look like this is a Switch 2 edition. It doesn't. It appears to just be a full Switch 2 version of the game. So, yeah, there you go. That's kind of cool. I like the collector stuff. Look, this RPG series is amazing. If you've never checked it out, I haven't played every single entry. I didn't even realize it was at, what'd they say, 13 entries? They said 13. I didn't even realize it was that many entries, but it is an amazing RPG series. Really glad that it's coming to Switch 2, especially since it was never originally announced for it. Now we got GameStop doing stupid things. See, we're going back and forth with these good, bad stories, and GameStop just can't get the foot out of their own mouth, right? They had the Staples situation at launch at one store where like they were stapling receipts to boxes and it was puncturing the Switch 2 screens. And while they did right by those customers and replaced all those units, the thing is, they tried to make a joke about it yesterday, and it was, damn it, GameStop. Let's just go to the thing. So GameStop tries to make light of Switch 2 staple fiasco, but lands in more trouble. Should have stapled some photo credit on there. All right. So a couple of weeks ago, we reported on a handful of unlucky Switch 2 customers who rocked up to their local GameStop on launch day only to find their console screens punctured by poorly placed staples. Keen to escape the hot water that such a fiasco rightfully landed the company in, GameStop attempted to make light of the situation with a new advertisement announcing console restocks in stores. But the joke has only ended up pinning more trouble on the company. Tut tut. We'll start with the self-depreciating promo itself. GameStop proudly announced the Switch 2 restocks with the new tagline, "Staples not included." The accompanying picture is the company's announcement tweet, shows a Switch 2 unit suspended in midair with a red stapler brandishing "Do not use on box" message in the foreground. While perhaps a bit insensitive to those unlucky enough to find a punctured unit, it's just self-critical enough that we cracked a little smile when we first saw it. Fair play, GameStop, we thought to ourselves, you might just bounce back from this. Whoops, spoke too soon. As it turns out, GameStop forgot to staple some photo credit to its funny little promo. That cool image of the floating Switch 2, it ain't GameStop's to use. As pointed out by Twitter, Bloomberg's Chris Welch, the snap was originally taken by a photographer, Janelle Jones, for Bloomberg. So, GameStop, you didn't just jack anyone's Switch 2 photo. You jacked a major publication's Switch 2 photo. That's not cool. It's not cool to jack anyone's, but man, this is, publications will go after you for this stuff. It even takes center stage on the outlet's console review, for crying out loud. So it's not like it's a hidden image. It's an image they use to promote their review. All GameStop did was crudely edit a picture of a stapler over the OG's dock without credit or mention. You can see it for yourself and watch the tweet below. It's not a good look for GameStop. So, hi GameStop. What's with stealing our original photo? So there's their original photo from Bloomberg. Again, they were using it to advertise the review. Very popular, very well-known photo, right? This is not something that, is hard to figure out where it came from. And here's GameStop. Switch 2 restocks at GameStop today. Staples not included. This was yesterday. So we should be talking today about how, hey, your local GameStop might have Switch 2s. Instead, we're talking about GameStop stealing and not giving credit. At least giving credit would have been nice, but you can see they clearly jacked the image. They probably AI swapped out the dock, threw the stapler in, and then, put their little disclaimers down here. So, yeah, not a great look. As it stands, the GameStop promo is still live on the social media accounts. We only imagine it'll be a matter of time before that quietly disappears from our feeds. Maybe they work things out with Bloomberg behind the scenes, but they jacked that photo. Look, this does happen all the time. Unfortunately, content creators do it. Lots of people do that without crediting. I've been trying to get really on my Q's and P's when it comes to crediting this sort of stuff. But look, some people just don't care, and it's rather unfortunate. So yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, Bloomberg. Hopefully GameStop rectifies it in some way, at least deleting the tweet or replacing the tweet or some monetary compensation, something. All right. Now, moving on, we have a rumor about the Legend of Zelda movie. And I want to note, we have had multiple rumors about the Legend of Zelda movie this year that I have chose not to cover. And the reason is the source is not very accurate when it comes to anything that isn't just about when trailers drop. So you might go, well, Nate, okay, if it's that same source and it's why you didn't cover the last rumor, why are you covering it this time? Look, I'm tired of it being spammed in my inbox. Let's just be honest. And it's being covered by every major publication. So you know what? Let's cover it and let's just see what happens. Rumors are rumors, right? You're not meant to believe them. They're just meant for conversation. So here we go. The search for the Zelda movies, Link and Zelda, has begun, apparently seeking actors 16 to 23. As you'll undoubtedly know by now, Nintendo's very exciting live-action Legend of Zelda movie has been delayed by a little bit to the release date of the 7th of May of 2027. Now, that may sound like a long time away, but when you're making a huge movie that every gamer and their Donkey Kong is going to be championing at the bit to see. I think chomping would have been the better word. But anyways, that's not very long at all. So it may come as no real surprise to learn that the casting process has reportedly gotten underway already. Now, before anyone gets too excited, none of this stuff has been confirmed. So make sure you have a cold drink of water handy for you to imbibe the purported facts that follow here. With that said, and according to Zelda Universe's website is down at the time I'm making this video, so I can't click on their article, but I know who it came from because it's from insider Daniel Rickman, who has his own X account, and shared details via his Patreon account, saying that the casting roles for Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, Impa, and the King of Hyrule could be taking place right this very moment. We knew this sense of discernment of wrong franchise. Link and Zelda's casting also, according to Rickman, seems to be focused on performers between the ages of 16 and 23, at least for Link and Zelda. The article also suggests that this casting period could be all wrapped up and done by August. I mean, you'd hope so. So it could very well be that we hear who we've got in the lead roles fairly soon. I personally think we still won't hear about it until 2026, if any of this is even remotely factual. Last month, he claimed that Hunter Schafer was in the running as we ran down one of our own picks for people we could see in the principal roles back when the movie was first announced in 2023. Now, obviously, again, we don't know if any of this is true, but it's just something that we're putting out there for those interested. Now, This last story is really the big one here. You know, if you've been having problems with HDR on your TV, or it's looking washed out, or you think it looks good, but maybe it doesn't look quite right, there's a solution out there. Now, there's a big YouTube video here, right here, that I'm going to link to down below. You guys should absolutely watch it. It's going to really help you out. But we're going to read the article here. Like it says, if you've been feeling, as this writer has, your Switch 2 graphics look a little washed out on your TV set in docked mode, guess what? It seems a bunch of other folk have too. What's more, there's an actual reason for it, and it can be fixed. Sort of. The video above from YouTuber HDTV Test addresses the issues we've encountered with the LG OLED TV set. We had a little fiddle this morning, careful now, and we can confirm that our Switch 2 is looking much better, much richer, and more vibrant on our OLED TVs, thanks to the tips in this useful breakdown. So, what's up with it? In short, there's a bunch of problems outlined here, all revolving around the setting known as HGIG, or HDR Gaming Interest Group, that deals with the tone mapping while playing games. When you're in HDR adjustment settings in dot mode on Switch 2, you're presented with a test pattern of two suns. Adjusting these so one is the right on the disappear gives you the best HDR settings. Seems simple. However, TVs without HGIG have an issue. With the setting turned on, the test performs as it should, but turned off, it makes the test perform incorrectly. So you max out way above the recommended nits while attempting to calibrate HDR, hence the washed out image quality. The video mentions there's also a large number of increments to the adjustments with Nintendo's HDR configuration. You can click a whole lot of times with very little difference to the image, which makes the process feel more granular and ineffective. They compared this functionality to Xbox and PlayStation, which have fewer steps to toggle on their HDR setting screen, and therefore more readable and easier to adjust. HD TV Test also discusses Switch 2's suboptimal default paper white settings, which the video says are off out of the box and tied into HDR settings in a strange way. There's a very detailed breakdown on all of this in the video, so make sure to check it out. It's well worth the 10 minutes. And yeah, it's something like if you have the HDIG, make sure it's turned on. And then obviously you're going to go about a click below the middle on the second part when you hit Y and it brings up like this image here. You see here, when you bring this up, you're going to go a click below the middle and you will have pretty good HDR settings there. If you don't have HDIG, because not every TV that supports HDR does, man, in the video, he does some crazy things, like saying he had to go up, like he had to go all the way to the bottom, right? So he suggests taking, going, just mashing the bottom and going all the way as low as you can, and then slamming the up button 58 times. To get to the right nit level, and then you can go over to the next setting and put it a little bit below the middle, and then it'll end up being right. So this is just a situation that I hope Nintendo adds a future firmware update. That's one of these things that's really nice about this problem, is that this is something that can be updated in the future to be easier to deal with. That being said, folks, that's going to do it for this news video. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Let's get to that DK Bonanza Direct, shall we?